to try to please add a live title. Crazy thing, video, natural. I have to add a live title. So, what's your video about? Have my sins forgiven. Starting this program called Word for Word, dealing with truth. Okay, so here I'm going to tell you guys something, if I can. You don't have to adhere to it or whatever. But a lot of people believe that truth is based on perception, and that's not true. That is not true. Okay, I'm gonna give you the example right now. So I got my live video starting on Facebook. Should be kicking in a minute. Whoever joins in. Oh, Gio's gonna bring other people in, right? I think. Let's see. Boost live schedule, publish a poll. I don't want no poll. Cross post to more pages. Pages to cross post. No, not pages. I want to. Let's see here. I want to do it on revival if I'm able. Sorry guys, I'm getting to know this new stuff again. So forgive me for happy. Oh God, look at this. Click the button below, set up a featured link. We don't want a link. Oh my God, preview link. No, we don't want that. Oh my God, games too. Word for word, dealing with truth. Yeah, we got that. No polls. I don't want polls. Too low FPS. Actually, the current frame rate is too low. Please set the frame rate to 15 and experience it. What the heck is that about? I don't know what that is. Anyway, let's see here. Let me get rid of this real quick. And I'm going to end it with fast. I'm going to keep it here on YouTube because YouTube's cool. A lot of people joining on YouTube, so I'm going to do it there like that. But I'm going to tell you something. Truth is not truth is not based on perception. Return home. Okay. Go live. Go live. Yeah, we know go live. Okay, so truth is not based on perception. Okay, it isn't. I'm sorry, I know a lot of people like to think that. A lot of people want to, oh, here we go. Add a group to promote. Okay, I'm going to add a group. Revival. Okay, I put revival and promoted page group. I'm going to put it on there. There we go. Okay, so anyway, I have to put a description here. Okay, let's call it word for word. Anyway, so I have to tell you, truth is not based on perception. I know that hurts people's feelings, and I understand that people want to feel worth, because their opinion matters, they think. Anyway, I'm sorry, but that's not the case. That's what makes a lot of people upset sometimes. Now, like I told you before, and I say this honestly, hello everybody that's joining in, whoever's joining in, hi. I'm going to tell you something. I'm going on Facebook right now. That's why I'm over here preoccupied for a minute. Okay, I'm going live on Facebook now. Anyway, so I got Facebook and YouTube both. Anyhow, it hurts people's feelings because people, of course, want to have worth. Everybody wants to have worth, and that's fine. There's nothing wrong with wanting worth. Okay. I remember reading something a long time ago that if they broke down your body for all, this was a while ago, so the price might have gone up a little bit, but they said if they broke all the minerals down in a person's body, any particular person, they'd be worth $2.38. That's what the study said. Their body, from the minerals, the iron, the zinc, all that stuff, $2.38. Again, too, you could be worth more because maybe you have a kidney that you can donate and somebody that's rich wants to live, so you guys match and you could sell your kidney to them, so that would bring up the price a little bit. I'm not trying to state, but one thing I learned, one thing that I've learned, just to give you an example, give you a little example here. It's kind of hot right now, burning up a little bit. It's summer. I'm in my office slash room slash art. Here's one thing I'm working on. I'm transferring this to another piece. I hope you guys like it, but I'm transferring this to another piece that I'm doing. It's gonna be. I'll get it for you. Give me a second. Give me 1 second. I'll get it and I'll show it to you. But this is the part that it's gonna go on. That's the part that's going on. Pretty cool, huh? That's the part I'm working on right now. Okay, I'll do a print of that too. But anyway, that's what I'm working on too. And I'm still working on my movie, so I let you guys know, the people that listen in, knowing about the movie I'm making. So I'm telling you that too. Anyhow, I'm going back to this now. Again, and I've said it to you before, and I've said it over and over again. But I'm not trying to get anybody to believe in God in any way, shape, or form. I'm not. I'm not trying to promote religion. I'm not trying to promote, a systematical belief system, if you will. That was a bad thing to say like that, but you know what I mean. I'm not doing that. Okay? All I'm saying is, okay, watch this. I'm going to give you some basic, simple things. Let me go back to this, what I was going to deal with first. So, when my family was in Tacoma, we were about ready to have another child. Years ago. Told a friend of ours about the child we were having. And the lady, she ran a pretty nice organization. She had a few dollars in her pocket. And she said, sure, I can talk to anybody. You want to talk? We can talk. Anyway, she said, when I told her we were having another baby, here's what she said. This is exactly what she said. She said, children are expensive. That's what she said. Children are expensive. And I looked her right in the eye and I said, let me tell you something. No, they're not. They're priceless. That's what I told her. Children are priceless. So I want to say this. If it comes to what we're worth as people, as humans, I'm going to tell you something. We may not feel it sometimes. It may not seem like it. It may not sound like it, taste like it, smell like it, feel whatever. We are priceless. I'll tell you that right now. We are priceless. Everybody on this earth. Okay? Anyway, now we can get into splitting hairs with, well, what about this person, or what about that kind of person, blah, blah, blah. We can get into all that. Just talking to the people that are listening right now. Okay? Anyway, so let me deal with this right now. And so here, I was doing a relationship group one time. They asked me to do a relationship group. So I said, sure, I'll do that. I went to a treatment center and I was talking to the people, and I asked them, I told them all this, every one of them. And I'm going to tell you right now, folks that are listening by Facebook, by YouTube, here's what I'll tell you. How much would you sell? Oh, here's what I told them. I said, I can make all of you right now richer than Bill Gates, richer than Mark Zuckerberg, richer than the richest person you can think of. I can make you more rich than them right now. And of course, I asked them, I go, how much would you sell your eyesight for? Well, nothing, exactly. How much would you sell your hearing for? Well, nothing. Okay, how much would you sell your ability to, your taste buds? How much would you sell your ability to taste? They said nothing, exactly. You are so valuable that the things that we overlook, that are so priceless, that we don't see it to the fullest extent. And I know it may sound like lollipop language or fluffiness or all that stuff, but that's not what I'm telling you. I'm gonna give you something here right now. Watch this. And I share these things. I thought about it. Just like I say, I bring the Bible in, and it is the Word of God. It really is. I bring this in, and it's crazy because give me a second here. It's crazy because okay, let me share this with you. I'll share this with you. A little example, a little tiny example. Here's what it said. Somebody said, "Can we talk?" I can talk. Whoever wants to talk, put down what you want to talk about. I got my YouTube here on my phone, so it's kind of small. My Facebook, maybe I'll switch it around next time, and then I can control it better from my computer. Anyhow, because I got both going. Anyhow, here's what because I had read this Bible at least 90 times, and this was years ago. I'm talking years and years and years ago. I'm reading it again, okay, and I've been reading it. I'm almost through the whole New Testament. I'm almost through the Old Testament, and then I'll start over again. Okay, but one day I told God, I said, "Look, man," I said, "I read this thing back and forth, through and through. Now I'm going to give you something real simple, folks, just to help you out a little bit." I said, "I've read this thing through and through, over and over and over and over again." Okay. And I said, "Is there anything more than this? Is there anything else that's more than what's here? Is there anything else out there that we need other than your word?" Watch this. This is what God gave back to me. I'll share this with you. Here's what he told me. He said, let's say that a couple has been married for 30 years. Let's say that. For 30 years they've been married. So 30 years they've seen each other naked. They've seen each other at their worst. They've seen each other at their best. They've seen each other hungry, sick, everything. They've been that way for 30 years. And at the end of those 30 years, the gentleman comes to the lady and he says, we've been together 30 years. And I just want you to know that I love you. She doesn't respond with, "Oh man, you've been saying that for the last 30 years. Tell me something different." She doesn't. Those same 3 words that he or she said to the other from the first day they met till the last day they are together. It's like, and if they really love each other, it's like they said it the first time. All right? When you're thirsty, really thirsty for water, I mostly drink water. Each time you drink water, it's like the first time, especially if you're really thirsty. When you take a breath of air, you don't say, "Doggone it, that's the same oxygen I've been breathing since I was born." Doggone it, that's the same sun that's risen over me you don't get mad about that. And it's peculiar to me because that's the same sun that's risen on your life, my life, from the day we were born till this day. And we never ever say, "Well, that's the same old sun. Why does it keep rising? Why is it?" We always think of it as a new day. Well, more so with the Word of God. More so. Okay, so I'll give this to you if I can. This will help you out a little bit. Watch this. I went into a outreach one time at a jail to help some inmates because I had also been incarcerated in my life. I had also been in trouble a lot in my life. And I thought, well, I got out of it. Let me see if I can go and share some things that went on. And maybe somebody will catch something. Maybe somebody will hear something. And maybe their lives will change. So I'd go into the jail and I would go and help inmates. So I'm in there. And there was like 35 adults that showed up. 35 people that showed up. And I looked at all of them. And it was female and male. So it was like a we always sit in a circle type thing. We sit in a circle. And I looked at all of them, and I'll say this to you like I said to them. I'll say it to you like I said it to them. Here's what I said. I looked at every one of them and I said, God is not real. One lady got so mad. She got really, really mad. She said, "You liar." That's what she said. "You liar." I said, "Oh, you're calling me a liar. Okay, fine." I said, "Good for you. I'm glad you said something." I said, "You got offended because obviously and most of you heard of church, been around church, some way, shape, or form. You have some kind of, inkling or push, if you will, to church. Something, you know. Anyway, when she called me a liar, I told her, right on, lady, I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you called me a liar. I said, but I'm going to prove it to you why I know God is not real. I'll prove it right now. I said, watch this now. Watch this. You're going to love this. I said, your five senses, all of you out there, your five senses, every single one of you, tell you what's around you, whether it be real. Your sight, your hearing, your smelling, your touch, your taste. All those tell you what's real. Your eyes. Let me tell you this. How many times have you seen something, thought it was true, and it wasn't? How many times did you hear something, thought it was true, and it wasn't? Hello. This reminds me of just to give this to you, this reminds me of a discussion I had in a college class. And it's odd because one guy asked me, and this is during the class, he said, do you believe in UFOs? That's what he asked me. He said, do you believe in UFOs? And I asked him, I said, I noticed they changed the definition now, but I asked him, I said, what does the U stand for? What does the U in UFO stand for? What's this? Unidentified, which means I don't know what it is. And I looked at him, I said, how can you believe what you don't know? He looked at me, he went, whoa, the whole class. Watch this now. Watch this. I said, why is it we want to know people 10 million miles away and we can't know somebody 10 feet from us? Hello. Why is that? We want to know people 10 so far, but yet we can't know someone. That's the greatest adventure you could ever take, is getting to know somebody that's around you. Even more so, getting to know yourself. Anyway, go back to this now. So, let me share this with you. Okay? The reason I say God is not real, because even reality isn't real, folks. I'll prove it. All right? So I got a bed there. I won't show it to you because it's there, but it's made of wood. I got a bed frame there. I'm going to buy a bed later, or a box spring and a mattress. But this bed here, I'll show it to you. Heck with it. You can see it. Take a look. There it is. You can see the corner of it. See that? It's a nice bed. It's a frame right now. I don't have any bed in it. I sleep on an air mattress right now. But anyway, I'll eventually buy a bed or a box spring and a thing. Anyway, going back to this. Well, that bed frame that's made of wood, at one time or another, was a tree in the forest. Straight up. Was a tree standing in the ground in the forest at one time. All right? Well, somebody cut that tree down and made planks or pieces of wood from that tree. So if someone seen that tree, and maybe they liked that tree, and they thought, oh, this is a cool tree, I really like this tree. Then they head out and they come back and the tree's gone. Was the tree ever really there? Hello. This bed frame, this wooden bed frame. I have it right now. And eventually, like we all know, our stuff, we're a consumer society. So things we buy turn into junk and we throw them away. So really, is that bread frame really there? You see what I'm saying? So let me tell you this, if I can say this. I've read this many, and I still read it as if I read it the first time. But I'm going to tell you something. I have never read in there where God said about himself that he is real. Not one time. Watch this. What he says in there is, let's see what somebody said. What? I gotta read this real quick, guys. Give me a second. I can't see really well. Here are my birthday wishes. Tammy Rabano, give me a kiss. Tammy Rabano, I love you forever. Oh, I don't know who Tammy Rabano is, but okay. I hope she gives you a kiss, whoever you are. Diego something. If you get that, cool, dude. Anyway, so here's what I'll say. The aspect, what God says is that he is God, which is beyond reality. Okay, beyond reality. All right? That's the whole. Let me give you a prime example. Okay. I remember one time, I share this stuff a lot, but it's true, so I'll share it. But I was invited to a place, organization called SYDE. SYDE. And what they were trying to do is teach the youth about the dangers of alcohol and drug abuse. That's what they were trying to do. So they asked me to come and speak. So I did. They had me do a speech there. And I told all of them, because you had old folks in there, you had different races, you had, of course, different genders, you had different age groups. And I said, you know something? I can make us all equal right now. Because I'll share this with you. There are many people that hate this. And that's fine. There's nothing wrong with hating. Okay? There's people that really hate this. And I understand why. You know. So I'm in that giving that speech, and I said I could, like all of you out there right now, I can make us all equal right now. Watch this. I said, here's what I said in that speech. I said, who here gets up in the morning and says, I'd like to have a horrible day today? Nobody does. Nobody does that. And what's funny is that this kid from this drum group, and I understand why the drum group hates the Bible. They stole our land. They did it in the name of God. They used the Bible and stole our land and blah, blah, blah. And I'm going to tell you something right now. If anybody listening that's in a drum group or that it believes in Indian religion, that's fine. But I'm going to tell you, it wasn't the God of heaven that they were representing. Because no way in the world would he allow that if they were representing him. Okay, let me be clear on that. Their own greed, their own stuff is what did that. Okay. Anyway, this kid jumps up, and when I asked, who gets up in the morning and says, I'd like to have a bad day today? When I asked that question, that kid jumps up and he says, I do. And I looked right at him and I said, well, kid, I'm going to tell you something. Or young man, I said, I'm going to tell you something. You're in the wrong tent. The misery tent is way, way over there. He sat down real fast, realizing what he had said. You know what I mean? And that's fine and dandy. Of course, he was just trying to cause a little controversy. He was trying to cause a little mayhem, if you will. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, going back to this thing. You see, and I say this by God's grace. I gotta turn this tape over. Give me a second. I'll be right back. It's gonna be dead air time, but I don't have people making commercials for me, so I don't have to. But, okay, I'm back. Okay, I'm back. Okay, anyway. So here's the, if you will, I just went to go flip the table. Anyway, here's the hope. Okay, here's what is done for us. Okay, now it's vast. I'm gonna tell you something. It's really vast. I'll give this to you. I'm just going with basics right now. And so here one time, I am invited to pastor a church on my reservation where my mom was actually a member, which floored me because my mom and my grandma were members there. And it was an honor to do that, to be the pastor. And then I actually found some moccasins my mom was making with my little brother. You know, he was a baby at the time, so they were real small, but I seen that, which was interesting because it was in the files. Anyway, going back to this now. I'm there, and I'm invited to, pastor this church. Anyway, so they would have little cluster groups of all the pastors of the region. So I'd go to those meetings. And Easter was coming up, and we all know what Easter is, the resurrection, all that stuff. And I told him, I said, yeah, I'm going to do a 2-week study on it. And the guy laughed. The head guy, the general, if you will, he laughed. He said it like this. He said, oh, young man, you just don't know. I said, what are you talking about? He said, we could study for years and years and years, and we only skim the surface. That's what he said. Talking to me like I'm ignorant. And I looked at him, I said, sir, I can give you the entire definition of the Bible in 3 words. The entire definition. And I can do that for you people today. Watch. Real simple. I said, I can give you the definition of the entire Bible from Genesis, the Old Testament, all the way to Malachi, from Matthew all the way to Revelations. I can give you the definition of the entire Bible in 3 words. And I'll give it to you, folks. Real simple. Just to show you. I have children. Okay, I bought my children clothes. I sat up with my kids when they couldn't sleep. I'd always check the windows to make sure they were locked when they went to sleep at night. I'd check to make sure that if there was heaters, nothing was against the heaters so the house wouldn't burn at night. Before I go to bed, I'd check one more time. I'd walk outside the house by their windows, flashlight out in the woods because we lived in the woods. I'd do that. Every single night I did that. Okay? I'd take them and we'd go to the dollar store and I'd give them a few dollars to go spend at the dollar store. I'd get oil money from my oil wells in North Dakota and I'd say, okay, we're going to Ross, you guys pick a toy out. Whatever toy you want, between this much and this much. That's what I would do. Now watch this. The boo-boos, the toothaches, the earaches, the scratches, the nightmares, all those things. If I wrote down everything I ever did for them, that book would be bigger than this Bible. That book would be way bigger than this Bible right here. But if you got to the root of why I did it, it's because I love them. So that's basically it. That's the whole definition of the Bible. I love you. Now, if you're going through something that's horrendous, if you lost a loved one in death, if you got broke up with, all the troubles of life, I'm not trying to minimize or demean whatever pain you're feeling. I'm not trying to bring a magic wand and go, hey, my mama is who? I'm sorry, I can't see very good. I'm gonna get my other glasses. Give me a second. I'll be right back. Okay, I grabbed my amplified glasses. My name is Ashley. Hello, Ashley. How you doing? Good to see you. Okay. So that's the definition of the entire Bible, folks. Basically, God is saying, I love you. That's it. It's that simple. Okay. But it's not the love that we have. See? It's not the love that we hold. Our love, it's going to sound mean, but it's true, is no good and cheap. True enough. How do I know that? And I know, like I said, I don't mean to demean your love. I don't mean to say it's nothing. That's not what I'm saying. But it is. I'll prove it right now. If a man and woman were married for 30 years, and the man goes, or even the woman, I'll use both, and they're happy to be married for 30 years, and they go and they gonna celebrate. So either or goes and buys a special gift, and they're coming home, they want to surprise their loved one, and they're excited, and they get there and they find their other loved one in bed with someone else. How fast has that love turned to hate? See? Just to give you an idea, watch this. I'm going to go here now. But here's what it says. Here's what it says. This floors me every time. Floors me every time. But this is found in John. And these are basic letters. These certain ones in the New Testament are like letters. Okay? What's this? What's this? I'll find it. Give me a second. I'm glad I know where it is, because it's at the end of the verse. Bear with me a moment. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Uh-oh. Oh, never mind. I was looking at the wrong one. Give me a second here. Anyway, glad for everybody that listens and joins in. Thank you very much. Oh, here it is. Here's what it says. This is 1 John chapter 4. Real simple. Really easy. 1 John chapter 4. And it's not Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. It's the little Johns in the back. I call them little Johns because they're really short letters. 1, 2, and 3. So this is the first one. He that loveth not knoweth not God, for God is love. Now notice, it didn't say God has love. That's heavy duty. See, because we have love like a possession. We know what this turns into after it filters through us. So it's nice right now, but so we have it like a possession. He doesn't have love. Here's what it says. Let me read it again. He that loveth not knoweth not God, For God is love. He doesn't have love. He is love. That's powerful, folks. You know what I mean? That's very powerful. I'm going to give you a prime example. Watch this. I've had money before, pretty good money. So I know the attitude that it can give, you know, where you don't hurt, you hurt for nothing. You just go and, okay, I want that, okay, I want that, whatever. Anyway, this gentleman who was a millionaire, you know, he went, what is this looking? Oh, there we go. Well, whoever's listening, thank you for listening. I appreciate you listening. Hi, Lucas, and I'll say hi to you guys. Hello, Answer. Sammy D, how you doing? Sammy D, he says he loves somebody. Lucas and Roy, what's up? Thank you for joining in, guys. I do appreciate you joining in. I thank you. Anyway, so here's what we're doing. Oh man, this thing's wigging out over here. Let me adjust this one over here. No viewers on this one, but that's okay. It'll pan out. Anyway, so the gentleman, and I'm just gonna go an hour tonight, folks. I'm already at 36 minutes, I believe. Yeah, 36 minutes. Okay. So this gentleman, millionaire, oil. He had big oil money. And he's a professor at a college. But he goes and he argues with me and tells me that the people who hold the gold make the rules. That's what he said. Basically, that's what he said. He said, you don't understand economics because the ones that, if you will, pull the purse strings are the ones that get to dictate. See, when money's your wealth, the people that have the most money are the ones who are in control. That's what he said to me. And here's what I said to him. I said, sir, your rule would apply if money was my wealth. And I told him, I said, money's not my wealth. He didn't know what to say. He was dumbfounded. I told him, shut up. Money's not my wealth, buddy. I said, the lady right there, I said, the children she bore me, that's my wealth. This eyesight I have, that's my wealth. The hearing I have, that's my wealth. I mentioned a few other things. And this is what was funny. He said, but you need it to live. That's what he said to me. You need it to live. That's what, and most of you believe that. And that's why you're imprisoned. That's why you're slaves to it. And I looked him right in the eye because, you know, he's, like I said, he's a millionaire. I looked him right in the eye and said, that's not true either, sir. And he was dumbfounded. He was so dumbfounded. This professor in his own class, as I'm talking to him, he turned his head and he's talking to one student like he's indirectly talking to me. And I looked at him, I said, sir, watch this. And I took a deep breath. I said, how much did that cost? He didn't know what to say. He did not know what to say. See? He that loveth not knoweth not God. For God is love. God doesn't have love. That's why you have that scripture. When it says God is love. That's why you have that scripture that people, you know, just throw out there like it's nothing. We know it. John 3:16. For God so loved the world. For God, it just doesn't say love the world. It said so loved. So God is love. Okay? That he gave his only begotten Son. Okay? That whosoever liveth and believeth in him should not perish, but have everlasting life. And there's volumes in that one verse right there. We just read a part of it. God is love. For God so loved the world. God is love. So how can he not love when he is in fact love itself? Watch this. I'm going to show you something. And it's harsh, but it's true. It's mean, but it's true. Would you rather, anybody out there listening, would you rather have somebody real hate you or fake love you? What would you rather have? You see what I mean? I would rather have real hate than fake love. And that's the truth. Like I said before, and you probably heard me say this, but it's true. I would rather have someone tell me they hate me and mean it than someone they tell me they love me and they don't mean it. You see what I'm saying? God himself never ever, he just shows it to us. He just shows it to us. What do I mean by that? Watch this. How much did that cost? Nothing. You don't have to do anything for it. You don't have to promise to be good to keep getting it. See what I'm saying? That's pretty phenomenal and amazing. Okay, so when we see there, for God so loved the world, the entirety of it all, see? Because he is love itself. And because he is love itself, you see what I'm saying? And now watch, I'm going to share this with you. Because there's a lot of you out there who have been hurt by love, who have, been mistreated by love. When someone said they loved you and they didn't show it. When someone was supposed to love you and they didn't. Take parents, for instance. Take, someone who, whatever they did to hurt you. Understandable. That's not what kind of love this is talking about. That's not the kind of love that this book right here is telling us in any way, shape, or form. That's not the love that he's talking about when he talks about loving us. Okay, I'm gonna give you an example. Let me go through here a little bit. Give me a second, please. I'm almost done. I got about 20 minutes left, if that. Okay. Watch this. So this is found in Corinthians. Second. No, actually I believe it's first. It's first. 1 Corinthians. Here's what it says. 1 Corinthians 13. And here's what he goes into. Here's what he says. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, and have not charity, I am become as sounding brass or a tinkling cymbal. In other words, it's just noise. It doesn't mean anything. And I've been through that. With my own father, I've been through that. I think I was 14 years old when I finally stopped listening to him and said, and myself, I said, I don't want to hear it no more. Because you can only hear and see. You can only hear words and see a different action and go, okay, this is nuts. I'm not going to believe this anymore. You know what I mean? So to me, it was noise. Whatever he said to me was just noise. Honestly, at 14 years old, I stopped listening to him. Sad but true. Okay. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and all knowledge. Now that's powerful because he's stating this to say, let me say it again. Though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mysteries and have all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains and have not charity, I am nothing. Notice that. He said, though I'm going to give you a prime example of it. Okay? A super prime example of it. Okay? According to scripture, according to what the scriptures tell us, Satan at one time was God's angel. Who knew God better than he? You see what I'm saying? Well, what does it mean? You see what I'm saying? let me show you what I mean. Because I know people. It's so funny, but we all go through stuff. Every one of us. Okay. When situations arise and they're heavy and they're you know, it's like you picking up something and somebody coming along and just smacking it out of your hands. Then you go and you pick it up again and they do it again. You know what I mean? Sometimes it feels like that, I believe. Anyway, but let me say this. What's the use of us learning things if we can't apply it into action? You see what I'm saying? What's the use of us learning anything if we cannot put it into action, what we've learned? Take patience, for instance. Right? Watch this. I mean, let me give you this example, just to give you an idea. So one time, my grandma's dying, so I'm at her house, and my cousin showed up, and I'm reading my Bible because I generally read my Bible a lot. There's no greater word than God's word because the word of God stays the same no matter what. It's not wishy-washy. That's what I love about it. And I'm reading my Bible, and my cousin walks in, and she looks at me. Oh, don't you try to save me. You know, that happened a few times, just me reading the Bible. I'll give you another example. I'll deal with my cousin in a second. I'll give you this one. So I worked at the jail, and I read my Bible at lunch. And the lady walks in, and she looks at me, she goes, you know, you're not going to save me. And I looked at her, and I wasn't trying. I was just reading my Bible. And here's what she said. She goes, I'm a devil. That's what she said. You can't save me. I'm a devil. And I looked at her, and I said, ma'am, the question is this. The question is, do you want to really be a devil? I said, because if you want to be a devil, you're failing at that. They're way worse than what you're doing. I said, you can't even get wrong right. Take my cousin, for instance. She goes, I don't have faith. I don't care about faith. I don't want faith. I said, oh. I said, you got a job? She said, I got a job. I said, okay. You work? Where do you work? She goes, casino. Oh, somewhere else. I said, really? She goes, yeah. I said, so let me ask you something. I said, does the money fall out of the clock every hour that passes? She said, no. I said, oh. So how long do you wait before you get paid? She goes, 2 weeks. I said, so you're telling me you don't see any money, but you still continue, without seeing it, you continue to still work, believing, without seeing it, that you're going to see a paycheck at the end of those 2 weeks. She goes, oh, I guess I do have faith. Anyway. Watch this. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned, and have not charity, it profiteth me nothing. Now notice, he says, though I give my body to be burned, though I feed the poor. So see, those things can be done without love. Think about that. Most people merit their love by doing those actions. He's saying right here that those things can be done without love. Hello, folks. We'll get into that later. Let me deal with this. Now, here's what it goes into detail. Here's the detail that it goes into. Charity suffers long. Charity suffers long. Hello. This is describing God's love, by the way. And is kind. Even though it's suffering, even though it's a long time, still it's kind. Charity envieth not. Charity vaunteth not itself. Is not puffed up. Does not behave itself unseemly. Seeketh not her own. Is not easily provoked. Thinketh no evil. Rejoiceth not in iniquity, but rejoices in the truth. Beareth all things. Believeth all things. Hopeth all things. Endureth all things. That's heavy. That's heavy. I'll say it like this. If you had a good friend, and one day you were able to peep into their heart and see that they had some mischief against you, meaning that everything they were doing that was nice was for a payoff at the end to misabuse you or whatever, well, you'd probably end it right there. you'd probably say, oh yeah, I can see your heart for a second. And, you're trying to manipulate me and use me and whatever. Okay. Well, here's the thing. God sees that in all of us. And yet he still lets us breathe air. He still lets the sun shine on us. He still lets the rain fall on us. He still lets us be on this earth. Love. God is love. Okay. Charity never fails. But whether there be prophecies, they shall fail. Whether there be tongues, they shall cease. Whether there be knowledge, it shall vanish away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part, but when that which is perfect is come, then that which is in part shall be done away. When I was a child, I spake as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child, but when I became a man, I put away childish things. For now we see through a glass darkly, but then face to face. Now I know in part, but then shall I know, even as also I am known. This is the part I wanted to get to. And now abideth faith, hope, and charity, these three. But the greatest of these is charity. And that's what God does. That's why we read it there where it said, God is love. He doesn't have it. He is love. And of course we read it there where for God so loved the world. And now we went into detail, or the word rather, went into detail about how much this love is. See, straight up. Anyway, so thanks for listening. If you listened tonight, God bless. I'll hook it up again later, down the road. You have a great evening.